Okay, that's a little better. Valheim Plus getting started. All right. So yesterday, I was playing and I thought, setting up Valheim Plus was a real bear. Kind of scary. So, I'm going to go through and start a whole brand new profile in this is Thunderstore Mod Manager. So that you can get pretty easily. So I'm going to go in here. I have no mods. So I'm going to get mods. Valheim Plus, which is right here. And I'm going to download it with its dependencies. And now in my mods I've got the weapon pack, which is a dependency, and Valheim Plus. And now the scary part, we're going to configure it. Oh, wait a minute, it's not there. Configuration files are generated after launching the game with the mod installed at least once. So we go up here and we launch modded. We have to do this, and you'll get this thing that comes up that shows all the stuff that's being loaded, and if there's any problems they'll show up in different colors, yellow and red and stuff like that if it's a problem. Yeah, a couple of things that are missing. You don't need to actually start the game. We'll go back into my mods just to get out of this. Launching Steam. Go back to edit config, and now look at this. We've got a Valheim Plus config file. And just to get the music out of the way. So here, now it's so tempting, so tempting to jump in here and just say, okay, let's edit the config file. Yeah, let's look at this. These are the sections of the config file. These are the parameters. Now, here, this little dot right here, that's how long the file is. So, we're going to cancel out of that because we don't want to just simply go in and start digging away at the file and setting up for what we want to do. The first thing we want to do is open the file, and I have it set so that it opens in Notepad, but there's a bunch of other things you can do. This is the same thing that we saw down here. So, Valheim Plus is true, advanced building mode is false, all this fun stuff. Now, this is what Valheim Plus comes with. So before we do anything else, we come up here and we do File, and we do Save As, and we tell it where we want to put it so we can find it. Valheim Plus, call it default config for Valheim Plus, and save it. I saved it to my desktop, so I'll be able to pop over to my primary desktop and see what's Now, if I need to change anything, I want to put this back to whatever. Now I can do that. Now these things, if you know where you're looking for stuff, over in here, you can just jump to. So for instance, pickable. We can change pickable. It's false right now. Edit, find, pickable, and then we want to so there's pickable, and you see gathering is right above it here. Right, there's gathering, and there's pickable. Those are a couple of things that I like to tweak. So any section that you're going to tweak, you change false to true. True. Just type it in. Change false to true to enable this section. Edit the value below in percent, and that will modify the yield when picking. A value of 100 doubles the drops. 200 triples them. So let's say with berries, instead of having it drop 1, I want it to drop 2. So I change that to 100. And then I use my Control C, highlight it, Control C, highlight and Control V. So that stuff all comes up. And then we notice the gathering, drop chances for gathering. Okay, change this to T, E. And again, it's the same. Modify the drop chance. So drop scrap piles in dungeons have a 20% chance of dropping an item. If you set it to 200, you have a 60% chance to drop iron. Okay, so it doesn't say what the 100% chance to drop iron is, but if it's 0 to 200, goes from 20 to 60. So 0 to 100 would probably be 40. So if we do a 300, that should give us a nice big number in there for this. And with wood, each of these values increase or reduce the dropped items from destroyed objects with tools, stones, trees, etc. Value of 50 increases the dropped wood from 10 to 15. The value of minus 50 will reduce the amount. So let's go with 50. That'll get us double wood, double stone, core wood, elder bark. There we go. So there's all kinds of things like that. So but let's go back up to the top and we'll go through the sections. True, yes. Display the main menu, sure. Server browser adjustment. This has the advertisement of our server hosting partner on your server browser menu. Since I'm not doing server. Advanced building mode. There's a bunch of things in here that you can do with advanced building mode. Excuse me. Had a fun day today. Estimates on getting some work done on the house. So, F1 gets you into the advanced building mode. F3 exits it. Then there's keypad things that allow you to do things. And then the same thing with advanced editing mode. I'm not using them because I haven't used them yet. Okay, bed. You can sleep without spawning. This means you can set up a bed to sleep somewhere and get through the night. And then you can destroy that bed and you haven't lost your spawn back at your home. And that's pretty handy to have. So, oh yeah, we have to enable the section. Then unclaimed beds. If you want to sleep only on unclaimed beds, now this is a server side thing. If you've got multiple people and you want to sleep on their bed, leave this as false, and then you can use that Shift E on their bed to sleep without changing any spawn point settings. Beehive. You can change how fast the hive produces. You can change how much it produces, and you can have it auto deposit if there is a chest close enough. So remembering to get the stuff out of the beehive is that's one of my banes. So you can, if you want it to produce faster or slower, deposit range of 10, just put a chest somewhere near your beehives and you'll be fine. And you can have it, you can also tell it to set up where you're, when you click on it and there's nothing there, how long will it be till it produces more. That's just a nice little thing to know. Building. No invalid placement restrictions. Remove some of the invalid placement messages. Provides the ability to place objects into other objects. For instance, when you're building a boar pen and there's a boar right next to where you want to put your fence down, and I mean it's a matter of the boar is inside, but his hitbox has a little bit that's outside. Mystical forces. If you want to build around the spawn point where you hang up your trophies, we're going to change this to true. So if you want to hang up where your trophies go, if you want to build around that, you change that to true. I'm leaving both of these false. No weather damage. I really am tired of fixing everything because of rain and water damage. And then the maximum range in meters that you can place build objects inside the hammer build mode. This is when you're standing at the edge of a workbench radius and you want to build something outside of it. How far do you want to reach? I'm going to leave it at 8. Piece comfort radius, the radius in meters in which a piece must be to contribute to comfort level. 10 is the default. With this, if you increase it, you can put, if you've got a large room and you want to make it comfortable, you can make this a large radius and you can put down rugs and they make you comfortable further away from them. Always drop resources. We want, when destroying building pieces, setting this to true will ensure it always drops full resources. I like that one because that makes sure that when I click on, when I middle mouse something with my hammer, I get back what I put into it. It's things like when you middle mouse on a torch or lamp rather, one of those floor torches, you'll get back the all the things used in it. I can't remember if you get back your consumables or not in regular, but okay. Always drop excluded resources. There are things that the devs have marked as do not drop when you destroy a building piece. Setting this to true will ensure it always drops the pieces the devs have marked do not drop. I don't know what. Enable repair. Now this one is great. Enable repair area. If you hit something with the hammer to repair it, it will repair everything within whatever this radius is. So let's say you've got a 4x4 floor that's 8x8 meters, and you walk into a decrepit village. There's a 4x4 floor or 3x4 floor or whatever, and you repair the floorboard in the middle. The whole building gets repaired. So easy. Okay, camera. Oh, and this is important because even though we have weather doesn't disturb stuff, you still have mobs. So when a troll breaks down walls or something, you can tell it to when a troll damages your walls, you can tell it to repair, and it'll repair a whole bunch. So sometimes it's nice to have a big radius for that, but I'm going to leave it at their default for now. I cannot believe I'm yawning so much. I'm sorry about that. Alright, camera. Enable this section. Your maximum zoom distances, so how far do you want to zoom when you're for your character, how far back, how far close, and how big you want your field of view to be. I actually like leaving it at the default because the game works really well with the default. The problem with changing these numbers, with changing the camera stuff, is depending on your computer, you may get a little jitter. Experience. I am a terrible player as far as being able to kill mobs and stuff like that. So I want to gain experience faster. Increase or decrease. So the value of 50 will increase experience gain by 50%. So you gain experience faster. So I could go with 50, or I could make myself really OP and go with 100, or whatever. I'm going to go with 75. And I'm going to Control C, Control V with all of the experience parameters. I find that Valheim has two difficulty settings: hard and impossible. In hard, your character gets resurrected when you die. In Impossible, when you die, you start over. And neither of those work for me. Okay, fermenter. We're going to do this one. Duration is fine. Let's tell it. We want it to make 10 items. We want it to tell us how long it's going to be. We want it to auto deposit and auto fuel. Ignore privacy, yes. And it's this one we're going to actually the area we want it to pull from and place is going to be real small. Like, they're going to be right, the chests for it are going to be right underneath of it. In fact, I can actually make that 2 meters. Fire source. I do not want my torches to run out. I do not want my fire. They'll stay at maximum fuel level once filled. Fires. You never have to put more wood on them. Since these are set to true, I don't need to worry about pulling wood or any of that other stuff. Food. Now, food has food duration multiplier, so it makes your food last longer, and food degradation, so how long it retains its maximum benefit until it runs out instead of these. I don't have any real problem with. It's not that hard to eat a little bit more. I would say that making the food last longer once you eat it is probably a good thing. But food is actually not a big problem in Valheim, except really, really early in game. Smelter. Let's change, well actually, you know what? We don't have to change this because, well, let's change that to 1 because we don't want to use up. We don't want, we have 2 to make a, let's use 1 to make a single ingot. And then we're going to change this to auto deposit, auto fuel, and we'll leave that at 10. No, we'll make that 5. Because this you want them pulling, you don't want it pulling wood from your primary build chest. You want it to pull wood, you want it to pull fuel from real close by. Same thing with the furnace. Okay, all ores inside of a furnace. This means that when you get further in the game, I guess there's some things that you have to have different equipment for, but I don't think that's a big deal. Okay, game. Want to make some damage multiplier per person nearby. Game difficulty, health multiplier per person nearby. Yeah, there's several things in here. So we'll keep this at true. Game difficulty damage scale. The game 4% monster damage increase per player in radius. I'm doing single player. Per person in radius, single player. Extra player. Nearby player count. Difficulty scale, other players. Okay, here's one. Disable portals. If you want to get rid of portals, you can get rid of portals. Console, I leave on. Disable fog. Get rid of that fog. I don't mind if there's a little bit of fog occasionally, but the last game that I played, 90% of my time, well, I shouldn't say that. Last game I've been playing online, there have been times that I wake up and the fog is so thick that I cannot see. Now, both my bed and my workbench are at opposite ends of my building, but they are both within range of the fireplace that's in the middle. I literally could not see my workbench from my bed when I woke up one morning because of that stupid fog. To my mind, a better setting would be disable fog within whatever radius of a workbench. So you can still have the fog when you're doing stuff, but anyway, fog is a real pain. And fog is a pain when you're trying to sail. Hotkeys. There are some additional hotkeys. So, rolling forward and rolling backward. You know what? I think I'll leave that turned off for now. Part of it is in the new update, F10 is going to be a first-person view. So, anyway, so forward and backward rolling. I'll have to figure out different keys for that. Items. Okay, items. We've got all kinds of things in items that we want to. No teleportation prevention. This one is cool. It allows you to teleport with ores and other usually restricted things. I may change that to true eventually, but for now, for me. Okay, item weight. If I make it minus 50, it reduces the weight by 50%, so minus 50. If I can also, if I put 50, a usual item stack of 100 will be 150. Dropped item on ground duration in seconds, how long it stays on the ground before it despawns. Game default seems to be okay. Floating in water. No more lost serpent scales and other things. HUD. This is a good one to change. Most of what I'm doing is just, I'm changing this to make it the game, instead of being played on hard mode, it's going to be played on an easy mode for idiots like me. But if you find the game too easy, you can change this to make the game even harder. So, show required items. If I'm working on something, I want to know. This is when craft from chest is enabled. We haven't got there. Experience gained. You can do that. I have it set up as true on my frigate game. That's Friggit. It's a pun on a Norse goddess, Frigg. Remove the damage flash. Yeah, do you want to see your blood? Display bow ammo counts. How much ammo is available for. And your options are never, when equipped, or always. I'm going to go for always on this one for now. Gathering. True, we did gathering. And we did pickable. Durability. Durability. These values will increase or reduce the durability of a specific item. The value 50 will increase the durability from 100 to 150. Minus 50 will reduce from 100 to 50. So, I want to increase my durability on things because I'm tired of them breaking halfway through whatever. Armor. Same thing. I want my armor stronger. In fact, 50 will increase it from 14 to 21. Minus 50 will go from 14 to... I'm going to go for 100. I want my armor nice and strong. Kiln. Like, they're not real well organized. Don't need to change that. Don't process. I do not want it to process fine wood. I do not want it to process core wood. I do want it to auto drop and to auto fuel. I'm going to stop auto fuel threshold at 300. Actually, 150. I'm going to ignore private area check, that way it won't pull things from warded areas. I'm not setting this up. And 5. Map. Most of this has to do with sharing the maps, but there is one bit here. When I'm moving, I want to see a bigger part of the map. But the rest of this, share map progression, that's sharing with other players, public position, sharing all pins, and I want to display my carts and boats. Player. I want to carry 500, and I want Megan Jord to double it, and I want to increase my range for picking up items. Tired of camera shakes. Crop notifier. I don't want to put something where another one. And how many seconds for each comfort level. For the rested bonus, death penalty multiplier. I don't want things. Auto repair. True. Guardian stuff. Auto equip. Q weapons. Now this one is set to true. Weapon switches will requested mid-attack will be carried out when the current attack is finished. I like this one because if I'm alternate attacking with an at gear, I would like it to finish its attack before I switch to the torch. There are advantages or disadvantages depending on, like, if you're going after a ghost, you might want to switch to the torch in the mid-attack, but for the most part, skip intro if you love reading those so beautiful lines about Odin bringing you to... yeah. I don't need some to say, okay, don't unequip. I like unequipping, but it'd be nice if it re-equipped immediately. How much fall damage is scaled? That way I don't hurt so much. Skip tutorials. I've been playing enough, I don't need the tutorials. I'm not going to disable it on the encumbered. Server, I'm not doing anything with server. Stamina. Okay. Modifiers for stamina, increased or reduced. So, amount of stamina, cost. Now let's make that, let's reduce that, that's right. So, stamina usage. How much stamina? I want to reduce the amount of stamina needed for all these things. Structural integrity. This has to do with building. Disable the structural integrity. Basically, you can build anywhere. You can build a big tall pole, a big tall tower up in the air, and then destroy the tower underneath of it, and the stuff will just stay floating there. But there are a couple of things in here that make it convenient. This is structural integrity. This is damage from anything to player-built structures. This means that the mobs don't. These will make it really, really easy. Okay, loss of structural integrity by distance. Actually, I'm going to leave those alone. And I'm not going to do much with the wards because I haven't really done much with wards. I'm going to change my workbench range to 50. And with 0, it's the same thing. How close your anvils and everything are. I still want to have a roof. Wagon. This changes how much the cart weighs. And yeah, I'm not worried about that. Inventory. fun stuff. Inventory rows. How many rows do you want? I want 6. Wood chest columns. I'm going to go 8 by 4 rows. Personal chest. 8 by 4 rows. Iron chest. 8 by 6 rows. 8 by 6. Cart inventory. 8 by 4. Carve. 8 by 4. Longboat. 8 by 6. Inventory. Fill top to bottom. Merge with existing. By default, tools and weapons go into inventories top to bottom and other materials bottom to top. Yeah. Okay, free placement rotation. This is another one that I'm not yet ready to do. Shields. And this is, once you get used to this, you can go in here and make the changes. Block rating, increase or decrease the block value. So I want my shields to be nice and strong. First person. Do I want to be able to do first person? True. The hotkey for this is F10, which, if you remember before, there was this thing where you can roll forward and roll backward. It uses F10 and F9 and 10 or something like that. So I didn't. But I do like being able to do the first person every once in a while when you're looking around. I don't change my field of view stuff. Grid alignment. This is for placing things in a grid. I don't need that. True for craft from chest. Disable cooking station. The cooking station, you do not want it to cook from a chest, because if you put some meat in the chest that you need raw for your cooking station, that you need raw for the cauldron, it's going to cook it. So I do not want to use this with the cooking. Check from workbench. Yep, we want to check from a workbench. I want it to be far. I want a nice big one. Allow crafting from carts. That means that lets you carry a bunch of stuff. Okay, windmill. Haven't gotten to the windmill yet, but ignoring wind intensity, I might change that later, but it's the auto fuel and auto deposit. Same thing with the spinning wheel. Okay, player projectile. I'm not 100% sure what player projectiles do. Same thing with monster. But charge velocity. All right. Okay, so that's on how accurate you are. Now, let's see. Minus 500, minus 50. Okay, anything, minus 50, anything to make them, what do you call it? Okay, tameable. What happens when a tamed creature is attacked? 0 is normal, 1 deadly attack, stun instead of kill. So tamed creatures can still die, but not as often. And 2 is immortal. 2. Yeah, that's owner damage override. We still want to kill them with a butcher knife. Stun recovery time. Stun information. Yeah. Game clock. This is basically 24-hour to AM PM or changing colors. Brightness. Change how bright it looks at night. Value between 5 and 10 will result in nearly double brightness at night. So let's give it a 7. Chat, I'm not doing chat because I'm not playing multiplayer. And now we're at the bottom. At this point we hit save. And we can now open the file. And we can see that, well, for instance, furnace. Or, well, here in the default one it says false. Here in the current one it says true. So that's how things got changed. And if you're interested in other mods, the ones that I use in my modded play, I have the Valheim Plus here. Triple bronze, because I think it's really stupid to have to put in 10 copper and 5 tin to get 15 bronze, or 2 copper and 1 tin to get 1 bronze. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So make it so that if you put in 3 you get out 3. That makes sense. Speedy paths, so you use your hoe to make paths for stuff and you go faster. It just makes sense. Simple recycling. This one I love because I get killed a lot. So I go back and I make myself new weapons and armor and whatever so that I can go and get my stuff, and then I get killed and then I go back. And I end up, by the time I brought everything back, I've got 6 sets of armor and 6 spears, or, whatever. And it's ridiculous. All this stuff is tied up in things that I'm not gonna need long term. So I can take this and I can recycle it and get the parts out. Now, I only get out the parts that have been put in. So you get out the parts that have been put in. So if you deconstruct something that's been upgraded, you get out the parts that were upgraded. Plant everything. I love plant everything because it allows you to plant things that are normally only grown in the plains. You can plant them in your meadow's primary base. And also you can pick up stuff from berries and stuff, and you can actually set it so that you can plant one raspberry or one blueberry and get one berry bush. The default is for stuff like that you have to plant 5 of them to get one, which isn't too bad either because it's not that hard to gather up enough. Gravekeeper, you get killed, everything stays with you. So, okay, it means I don't really have to do simple recycling, but I still like simple recycling because if I make something by accident, I can recycle it. Or when I pick up a bunch of torches or arrows or whatever from a chest and I don't need them, but I need the stuff that they're made out of, I can recycle it, get the things I need, and there you go. So, but Gravekeeper is nice for those of us who die all the time. You don't have to worry about, well, yeah, I died, but all my Surtling cores came back with me. Farm grid, as soon as you plant one thing, it comes up with a grid that will rotate around what you planted until you plant your second item, and then your grid is there so that what you're planting snaps to. Warning on that one, if you're planting oak trees and you put them to 2 meters apart like you're supposed to for regular trees, or was it 4, whatever the distance is, you need to at least double that, because oak trees will take up the entire thing. They're huge. Dig deeper. Yeah, dig deeper is essential, because when you're working with copper and silver and you can only go down 8 meters and the copper or the silver goes down 10 or 12 meters, that's just poor planning on Valheim's part. If you're going to dig out underneath, then you ought to be able to dig out underneath. It's just not fair for them to put this stuff so deep that you can't access it. And then, of course, EXE. Couple other mods that I like, but I haven't put in. Or no. Hitboxes. Pull up the website for this. Hitboxes makes it easier to find where your where the hitbox stuff is. That's not the one I was thinking of, though. There's one that now let's try it this way. bounding boxes or support. This one. Shows the bounding boxes for mine rocks, so it makes collapsing them easier. And you can see there's a little picture here. Rocks like copper and silver consist of multiple parts that are automatically destroyed but not supported. So this allows you to see where the bounding box is to checking the support. It helps you to find where all the bits are. So I am going to add this one, download it with its dependencies, and my next time that I play is going to have ore support added to my frigate. Again, not a bad word. It's frig with it on the end. She's my favorite goddess. Frigg is my favorite goddess. So, anyway, so we will go back in Cap and Grandma, and we only have Valheim Plus in here. We've edited the config, and that's basically, that was my plan for tonight for you guys. And I think the big thing to remember, the big thing to take away, is when you are editing a config file, before you hit this edit config, hit open file and do a save as, so you know where you were, so you know what your settings that you like are, or that you can see, okay, I'm trying this setting, what setting did I try? Oh, here's this setting, that setting, whatever, and you can go back and forth. But good hour. I know it's a very quiet hour, not too many people watched, but this is going to be up, and I'm actually going to make this pretty and take it over to YouTube as well, just so that you're not scared of working with the mods, because they're not scary. They really are not scary if you're just careful. Oh, there's one other, let's see if I can find it. One other thing that is very helpful to have. I went into Google Sheets and I created keybinds for the different, it's just a list of the keybinds that have to do with Valheim Plus, and I'm going to be adding to it the keybinds for my other, like here's the roll forward and roll backward. They were F9 and 10 or something. I changed them to F10 and 12, or F11 and 12, so that they don't interfere with the first person mode. That's something that I changed, but having something like this that you can look back and say, what's the keybind for that? Oh yeah. There it is. And thank you very, very much for tuning in. And I think I'm going to get a good night's sleep tonight.